Hey everyone, Jason here with STS. Today I'm going to be working on an iPhone 5S that was sent here for data recovery. This phone has no touch after a fall. They've been through screen replacements, and no matter what they do, they can't get touch, so they're not able to unlock the screen or trust a computer to back it up. So let's see what we're up against. I have not had a look at this phone, so I'm just as clueless as you are, other than what I just told you. It fell and now the touchscreen don't work. So let's get this thing opened up and see what we are up against. And against my better judgment, I should probably go ahead. Let's connect a charger to this thing and make sure it does in fact power on. It's most likely flat dead. I guess I'll be happy if I just get an image on the screen. Nope, it's not flat dead. So there's an image on the screen. I'm going to fully trust the fact that this thing most likely does not have touch, or they would not have mailed it to STS. Alright, so let's get this iPhone 5S opened up. They would like to see this phone back in working condition. But first and foremost, most importantly, is the data. So let's see what we can do to get the data out of this phone, and then we'll see maybe if we're going to worry about any sort of repair here, or if we're going to send it back working. You know, sometimes I feel... Don't want to reveal my customer. Sometimes I feel like I would have been better off to send the damn thing back not working. Like, you know, with data recovery, I like to copy the data off of it and send it back in the form of a working device. But what I run into is that people take it as a repair, like liquid damage data recovery. I send it back as recovery, and it's got shit tore off the board all over the place. It's just good enough for them to plug it in and run a backup, which I retain a local backup anyways, but I prefer to ship them back a working device so that they've got everything just like it was before. But what I run into, man, and this happens like 2.5 months later, like seriously, 2.5 months later, hey, you worked on my phone, and now all of a sudden it's saying searching no service, and I wonder what we can do about getting some warranty on this. Like, oh wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Let me go back and look and see what we did, thinking it's probably going to be a touch IC repair. Liquid damage data recovery. It's like, are you serious? So what I'm getting into is sometimes with liquid damage data recovery, I feel like I would be better off to like remove our little gatekeeper, like remove something to keep this thing from powering on. That way I send it back with the data and a dead phone, so nobody can gripe for warranty on data recovery. But I've not reached that point yet. I've still got this much patience. I'll have to get to this much patience before I start doing any shit like that. But I actually had some people suggest that to me. They said, well, why don't you make it so the thing don't come on? Because I have had multiple warranty requests for phones that were shipped back working that were originally here for data, and it's like a miracle that they left here working at all. But since it did arrive back to the customer working, they started using it, and almost 3 months later it quits, and then they're like, well, hey, we're still inside of our warranty here. I know I just sent it in there for data recovery, but what are we going to do about this camera not working? Fuck. All right, let's move on with this no-touch issue here. Try not to rant too much more because I got a bunch of stuff to fix. On a day like today, I would much rather be catching up on, you know, some of my rabbit holes, but as any of you in this business knows, you cannot let a rabbit hole ruin your life. Or 4 or 5 of them ruin your life. You have to keep shit moving. All right, we have a magnetic screw in our top right hole. It is ferrous, meaning this phone probably has a malfunctioning magnetic compass. Anybody uses the magnetic compass. All right. Somewhere out there, I have never seen it before, but somewhere out there there's a video that tells people if your phone don't turn on, or like you want to be like stealthy and private, somewhere out there there's a video that demonstrates ripping the magnetic compass off the board on the 5th gen iPhones. You know how many of these things I've seen come in with the magnetic compass ripped off the board? Like just as many as I've seen laptops come in with the cameras taped over with a band-aid or tape. Alright, so a quick visual inspection of the connectors on the assembly doesn't look too bad. Let's toss that aside in their compartment. And let's have a microscope evaluation here on the digitizer area of the board. We do have a sticker over it still, but as you can see, this sticker has been tortured. I mean, it's been pushed and prodded on to where we've actually got rub marks here where it's rubbed all the way through. So let's go ahead and get the sticker off the board. And we'll keep in mind we have rub marks here. And the digitizer connector actually, it looks okay. So let's get our camera out of here. Our power flex. We still got a magnetic compass. We still have everything that I can see here top side. Something tells me this is going to be a bit of a, not an exact science of a repair here. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to say that that connector is absolutely fine. We don't have any touch related issues being caused by that connector. No touch after a fall. This is going to be a shorted cap or something on one of the input lines. Now, if any of the lines going into the touch system were shorted, though, I don't think this phone would come on at all. It would screw Chestnut up in a way that we would get no image. So let's go ahead and pull the board out of this thing. Whoops. No touch after a fall. How's our frame rate? 23, 30. We're hanging in there. I have seen better days. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get the rest of the screws out of this thing. Yes, data first, fix phone second, but on many of these cases, you have no choice but to do it in the other way around. I don't know, there's a lot of stuff that I will save for last, like backlight and stuff. I will not worry about backlight for data recovery. I just have screens with the backlight box tore off of them. Now, all of these standoff posts are the same, I believe. I always keep them in order anyways, but I believe they're all the same, except for the top right one here. It should be non-ferrous, meaning it's not going to be, right, it's not going to be attracted to a magnet. And that is like that because of the nearby IC that is sensitive to that type of thing. All right, got our flathead here. Dun, 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 dun. Does anybody else remove logic boards in their sleep? All right, so we got that. I think we've got everything except for the antenna cable on the top. All right, so there we've got an iPhone 5S PCB removed. Notice I still have not actually tested touch because I firmly believe that this thing, I should have tested touch, but I firmly believe that this thing was not sent here with working touch, or they would not be seriously worried about their data. I mean, it's got a sticker on the back of it that I think is from Apple. So here's our logic board. Let's get rid of the other sticker here. Otherwise, whenever I remove the shield, it is going to deform it and pull things apart, and who knows what all will go wrong. So let's get the shield off of this thing after we get rid of this antenna cable, remembering that the plan is to reassemble this as a working phone. Everything looks like it's in excellent shape. I don't see a whole lot wrong here. I'm really hoping that I run into ICs that are not underfilled, because I hate dealing with underfilled ICs, especially for data recovery. It's not near as stressful when it's not data recovery, but when it's data, it's a big deal. All right, let's make sure we're recording. And let our hot air heat up, and then we'll get the shield off of this thing. Yeah, some of the adhesive isn't too bad. I did, let's see, what did I work on? My last, my last data recovery on one of these. Hell, it was just yesterday. It was a no-touch iPhone 5C that had been here for months. And finally got touch working on that thing just good enough to swipe to unlock. But then it was faulty in a way that every time you would hit the trust button, it would think you hit don't trust. You talk about frustrating. You're right there, man. Path the data. Yet this damn thing is still messed up. And I believe that was the same situation. It was a no touch after a fall, and it was underfilled. I don't know if I can do this to where I can make it so you can see what I'm doing. Let me try to lay my arm down a little weird. And I usually put a little tape at the bottom too, but I don't think that's necessary. See a lot of people that just hold onto the shield and let it fall. I'm not comfortable with getting them that hot, especially for data. I like to have this thing popping loose right at the second that it is time to pop loose, and not like when it's like really ready to fall. Don't make me look like a fool on camera. See, my mat's starting to bubble. I guess I should figure out a way to do this and not tape the board straight to the mat. Hey, I might actually have to do this on a stand. Alright, let's reevaluate what we're doing here, because I don't trust this mat. Let's grab a little farther down here. Boy, it's really hot for that to still be somewhat molten. We should pop loose anytime. Here we go. Now that was a little sloppy, but we're going to be okay. I didn't heat it far enough to melt any lead-free solder, so. Okay, now we're going to keep in mind that this is data recovery. I'm not going immediately after a repair first. What I am going immediately after, you see that other shield fall off? I'm not going to hide that. I did not mean for this to come off, and it usually don't come off. But that's actually the first time I removed a 5th gen shield on top of this mat, and it discombobulated me just a little bit. Probably should do it like Chris Long, where he just holds onto it and lets it fall, but I think there's some sort of like supernatural forces at play whenever that happens. So, all right, let's go ahead and have another microscope evaluation here, since my shield removal was a little bit hairy. Let's see, that's the wrong button. I changed all my crap around, so let's see. We got microscope. There is microscope. All right, so let's have a look here. We're going to just cover all around the perimeters of the board here, because I did go a little farther than what I would care to go. I know I didn't heat it far enough for any components to melt. I'm just looking for any burrs that might have popped in off the sides from this lower, you know, the solder that they use for these melts a little bit lower. And I did put a little nick in the corner of our big touch IC there. Oh, you can't see it. That's where my tweezers came in. Gosh, that's embarrassing. How come every time I post a video I'm putting nicks in chips? Okay. Now we can see here that our Cumulus and Sage ICs here, they're not underfilled, so that's going to make this repair much more desirable. And the thermal mass of the 5C and 5S boards is like, it's like heating up a little tiny thin, I don't even know what to compare it to, like something that's nothing. It heats up like that. So it's really easy if you're going from an iPhone 6 back to a 5th gen to use too much heat. Okay, and we did get a little heat on our forehead connector. All these guys look fine. Okay, we are all right to troubleshoot a no-touch situation. Now, since this is no-touch after a fall, and this is also data recovery, we're going to be immensely careful because we don't want to screw up. I'm not going to use so much heat to replace the chips right off the punch. I'm going to give these chips a gentle reflow. I'm assuming we've got a cracked ball or something underneath that's cracked. And I'm also going to keep in mind here that although data is the ultimate goal, if I do get data, our next goal is going to be working touch. Is going to be a working phone. So I'm going to go ahead and shield Wi-Fi And I'm just going to do some things here that try to increase my odds of not fucking up. Okay, and let me see if I can remember to only turn the multimeter on whenever I need the multimeter. Alright, so I'm going to let my hot air heat up, and I'm going to put a tiny little bit of flux right here in between our two touch ICs. That's actually a gigantic blob of flux, but we'll take it. Let's go for this reflow. Am I zoomed all the way out? I'm zoomed all the way out, so that's the best I can give you. I'm going to try to show you both of them at the same time. I don't know what angle to hit these at because I'm not a regular on these. I've only done a handful of 5S, 5C touch ICs, usually on my own kids' phones, because most people don't want to pay the full-blown touch IC repair rate. Alright, we're going to take a deep breath and focus because we got the board almost up to temp. Camera's in focus. And I'm going to come along, we're going to do Sage first. Nice gentle reflow. We're going to let our heat off, and we're going to let this board cool for just a minute. Well, not a full minute, just a couple seconds. Okay, and we're going to move right in, and we're going to do cumulus. Okay, a little bit of a jittery nudge there. That's because my camera's on, but that was a safe nudge. We didn't like shove it all crazy. All I did was put flux under the ICs, and I melted the balls underneath and gave it a little bit of a, one of these to wiggle all the balls around. We have wiggled the balls on an iPhone 5S today, guys. All right, and this is their shield. This is my shield. Let us kick the microscope aside and, drum roll please, we're going to put it back in their housing. Get rid of this little antenna. Shim needs to go on the screw chart so that I don't lose it. Alright. There was a time whenever I was really picky about shielding in the bottom of these housings, but I don't think the board will go down far enough for any components to touch. It hits these little posts first. Don't hold me to that though. You're probably better off to be safe. Okay, and for giggles and shits, I'm going to use the customer screen. We're going to leave camera disconnected. I'm going to leave everything disconnected except for what I need here for data, because data comes first. If I have working touch here, we're going after data. Now really, before my little gentle reflow there, I should have went around and checked power rails and did a little more checking. That would have been really, really mature. But I'm going off of my gut and I'm going off of my description, and this sounds absolutely like a touch IC issue, which we've all seen a few times after a fall. So let's go ahead and let this phone boot, assuming it will still boot. Apple logo, yes. That's like, whenever I first started doing this, like my first few board level repairs, seeing that Apple logo was like a flush of relief. It's like, oh yes, I didn't break anything. It's so yeah, anymore it's not too surprising though. They all go fairly routine. I'm going to move this out of view because their startup image here is going to reveal like their children or something. And we're going to see if we have working touch. And so far I have no working touch. Ah! I got a slide. Okay, we have very limited touch here, guys. Very limited. Let's see if we can get this to start over. Let me grab their passcode. We're talking very, very limited. In fact, once the board fully cools off, I might not have any touch at all. So let's go ahead. I'm going to get my path to data set up here. I'm going to connect a charge cable, still hiding the screen from you. And I'm going to slide. Slide to unlock. All right. Okay, I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on the board. We press 2. Okay, this might actually be screen. Okay. I had a nice smooth swipe that time. Okay, we're going to shut screen off. I'm going to hold a tiny bit of pressure, and it's also possible that this screen could be okay. We get no touch that way. Okay. Let's do it the other way. Let's put a little bit of a raise on the board. And there we go. I'm actually putting a tiny bit of a raise on it. Okay, I did get it to slide. One. All right, I've got the passcode. Oh, I bumped it. All right, passcode's in. Charger's hooked up. Trust. Path to data. All right, we're going to say we're going to allow. Touch is now working flawlessly. Come on, baby. Actually waiting for it to pop up here in iTunes so that I can click back up. All right, there you are. We're going to say, no, we don't want to update this crippled phone. We're going to say, back up now. And our backup is running. Now, in this case, since this is an individual and not another shop, I'm going to do a full-blown iTunes backup for them. But then I am also going to... I'm going to create a separate backup of the pictures and videos, just in case the iTunes backup is not something that they can work with. So this backup is running. Now, I'm not sure if this screen is the reason why I'm having such finicky touch issues. Touch is actually seemingly working. It's actually, touch is working like a faulty 5S screen. That's what touch is working like. Let's leave this thing run its backup before it goes nutty and freezes up. Right now we've got a backup running, so we're going to be okay here. Let's let this thing get its backup, and then I'll screw with it. So my camera shut off, and I don't know when. Let me say that once more. That is going to be it for this video. When this thing finishes its backup, I'm going to try another screen on it. And if a screen will resolve it, then I'm going to get this thing sent back as a successful data recovery. But I don't think I'm going to be doing a screen on an iPhone 5S through the mail. I'm going to send this back and let them get the screen replaced locally, I think. Otherwise, I don't know if any of you realize anything about the defect rate on some of this stuff. I don't like to do screen replacements unless I have to. I don't. I would much rather this screen replacement be done at a local shop or by Apple themselves, because if this is the original screen, well, you know what? This got dropped and smashed. Well, It looks original to me. I'm not going to mess with it because I want to get the data out of this phone. So I would much rather them have this handled by Apple or something local. So guys, that is going to be it for this video. I got to move on to my next repair. I might actually get time to do another video today. I got quite a few of them, but I'm not sure. I guess you'll know that if I publish another video wearing the same shirt. So that's it for now. I hope you all have successful repairs, and I do thank you for watching. Have a good day, everybody. I will see you next time. Okay, our backup just finished. Not very much, it's a 16 gig phone. Let's find out if this is an issue with the board or an issue with their screen. So we're going to hook up my screen onto it, that when it powers up, we should have working touch. But it's an intermittent screen that doesn't power up every time. Let's see. Yay, it powered up this time. All right, let's see how touch works on my screen. I've got a suspicion here that the drop damaged their screen and the ICs. Because I know that this, they would have never sent this here if this thing did in fact have working touch. And the sticker would not have wound up looking like this if the screen replacement had never been attempted. Mind you, I am still on the original Apple screen by the looks of it. And no touch after multiple screens. Yeah, it says it right here. They've tried multiple screens. So let's see. There we have touch. I'm going to type in passcode. No. We've got the same sort of behavior here, right? Yeah, it's all crazy. Yep, it's all nutty. All right. Well, since we do have a backup, let's see if we can replace Sage and get functioning touch on this thing. So let me bring up my other camera that lets you see me. Here I am, everybody. I'm right here. I'm going to fix an iPhone 5S today for the price of an iPhone 5S today. And also, let's see, 343SO645. Pretty certain in my little bin here of rarely ever used components. Let's see, if I flip this around, you can actually see in here. I have 5C and 5S digitizer ICs. Texas Instruments 343SO645. Let's remove it from the board. Start letting our hot air heat up here and get my microscope situated. And because it's an issue with like the location of touch, oh, and you can see here I did get a little too hot. We got a tiny bit of squirty going on here out from underneath that diode. Right there. See that right there? All right, so yeah, as hard and as delicate as I was with this thing. Look over here at this Wi-Fi IC. You can see I still managed to squeeze solder out over here. Like, it still happened. And I was very delicate with this thing, so I'm not going to be near as delicate with it now, though. Let's yank this 343SO645 IC straight off the board. Start warming up. Orientation is nice and simple. They're both upright. I'm going to try to do this really fast, though, because I don't want to melt shit all over the place. Let's just in and up. Now if you'll notice, I'm still hung on one row. I'm going to be very careful not to pull this IC. I'm going to make sure we melt, and then up. Oh, the reflection off of that IC on those caps was like really hypnotic. You couldn't see it, it was just out of view. So while this board is still hot, I am going to go ahead, we probably got enough flux there, but I'm going to add just a tiny bit more. Tiny bit of flux. Wrong tip on the Hacko. I want my conical or beveled tip. It's got a little pocket for solder. Let's tint it a little bit. All right, we are going to smooth off all of these pads. Okay. And although it's not necessary, I feel like I have better success whenever I clean away the tacky chip quick flux that's really, really sticky and seems to form a barrier. A solder ball sticking out, grabbing my fuzz. All right, let's get us a new IC. Alright, inspect the balls. Unfortunately, it is most likely lead-free solder, so I'm going to deal with high melting point, but we're going to be okay. This phone can have any number of things wrong with it still. It's an iPhone 5S, and how many times have you tried to fix touch issues on an iPhone 5S and still wind up with finicky touch issues? That's what I'm thinking. So I'm not going to put a terrible amount of time into fixing this phone because I could easily spend half the damn day and still have finicky touch issues. So we are sort of ballpark lined up here. We're going to start heating this board up. Very careful on the direction of my heat. I'm going to try to make sure I'm only hitting this one spot and trying to make sure my heat begins at this part of the board. So I'm a row out. Okay, I'm not reballing any of these today. I'm going to fix my screw up. I'm going to add a baby bit more flux. And we are going to grab another one of those ICs because I'll probably not use another 343SO645 in the next 5 or 10 months. Let's get our orientation right. Boy, there is something really nice about dealing with new ICs, though. That's a pleasure. And I don't quite have enough room here to run my tweezers in next to this thing and hold it in place, so I'm stuck with just kind of like trying to like backseat drive it into place. When they're underfilled, it's actually a little easier because you have this little square to work with. You can sit it right back down inside the square. Alright, let's see what happens this time. Not the way I expected it to go. This is from not being experienced on these, like, I haven't did 500 of these or 1,000 or however many touch ICs I've been through. I have to go back and look sometime and see just how many it was. Alright. Gentle little nudge. I didn't see any additional anything pushing out everywhere, so it kind of makes me think maybe that was lead-free or leaded solder. I don't know. Let's see what's up with the touchscreen, shall we? Alright, so back in the housing. What time is it? Another 15 minutes down the toilet. But this 15 minutes will be worth it if I can send this phone back to these people working and retain a local backup of their data. That way if it gets back to them and it doesn't work, I still have their data. But ideally, I'd rather not send the data on a flash drive. I would rather send it on this phone so that they can turn it on and slide to unlock, and there is all their information. They can just copy it wherever they want it. Alright, so we're going to plug their screen back to it. Although, no I'm not. I know it's not their screen. Let's just move on. Let's use mine. because if I continue using their screen to test it, then it will wind up being their screen. Okay, board is almost cool. We're going to connect battery, because I live in Missouri. Let the phone boot. Now watch, we'll have no touch. That's what happened to that one I did yesterday. It was a 5C. And I got the data off of it, and then it was like, all right, let's see if we can make touch work. And I wound up with no touch whatsoever. So it was actually a good thing I went with the gentle nudge method before doing the IC replacement method, because something else was broken. I don't know if it's some component that has its value changed and my hot air fixed it. Either way, I got touch working just long enough to get the data off of it. And when I went back to fix touch, then I couldn't get data. So it was a good thing I did data first. Same thing here. So here we go. We are booted back up, and we got working touch. All right, let's type in a passcode code. No, it's still weird. Still weird in the same way. Let's raise the screen a fuzz. Touched up there. Some really weird behavior here. Okay, let's go ahead and replace Cumulus. How much time am I going to waste on a 5S today? Okay, so we're going to remove Broadcom from the board. That's what I get for recording videos. Now I'm like in it. I'm locked in. So now I got to finish the repair. I can't just send this back as a data recovery, because at this point it's a repair video. Could be a lot of things here. We could have broken stuff inside the PCB. I can tell you that there is a crack. I forget where it was. I seen it earlier. A crack in underfill. That's a real telltale sign of physical damage too. All right. Come on, come loose before everything else around you melts, please. There you are. Okay, so that's off the board, and it is in the trash can. Or is where I hope to not be eating out of, as long as I can have successful repairs. Okay, let's get us a Broadcom BCM5976 IC, which is going to come off of a donor board. Let's grab the best looking donor board in the whole entire shop. We want the best one. One that doesn't already have all those ICs missing. No, we don't want that one. Oh, here we go. This is a good looking donor board right here. Alright, let's grab us a Cumulus IC. Okay, we're going to gently start warming this thing up. As fast as my hot air station will warm it up at this temp, I am going to pull this capacitor out of my face, because it is square in my face. It's right in my way. I need it to be gone. Here you go. You don't need to be there no more. That gives me a nice spot to put my tweezers. Right here. Okay. We'll kick our donor board aside. And we are going to lay... See that air bubble under my mat? I'll figure out a way to fix that one day. Alright, so we're going to throw the new board aside and hang on to the old board. I'm used to doing it the other way, pulling the donor components off of the old crap and throwing the old crap aside, and then this one we're going to do it the opposite today. So let's give this thing the gift of new balls. Let go of my tweezers. I'm trying to record a video. All right, here we go. If this fixes it, it'll save me a little time copying files. And it will also fulfill the customer's request. Data first, phone repaired second. If you can get the data, let's see if we can fix the phone. Here we go. Let's see if we can fix the phone. Alrighty. I had somebody tell me the other day I should start ultrasonic cleaning my stencils, which, thank you for that. I was actually considering on doing that anyway. I haven't never got around to it. As long as these things will still put symmetrical balls on these ICs, I'm probably not going to do anything different. Alright, looks good there. And let's get a perfectly equal amount of solder beads in every hole. If there is so much as one bead too many in any one of the holes, then the whole thing is screwed up and nothing works. Okay, let's count them real quick and make sure we have the perfect amount of beads in every hole. And we have no debris. Alright, let's start warming this up. I've been having issues with audio volume, and I think I'm going to have to change some cabling here and maybe set up some sort of preamplification on audio input. Some real improvements to make there. For now, I'm actually adding gain to the audio during editing. Why did I turn my hot air off? Oh, that's because I'm distracted. I'm talking about things that are not related. Alright, so we've got all of our balls centered. That is a nice looking reball job on a Broadcom BCM5976 Cumulus Touch IC that you find in like every Apple device on the face of the planet. So we're going to sit that here. We're going to bring our board back into view. And let's just go ahead and use the flux that is on the board. I'm going to add a little bit more to it. Scared me for a second. I thought I grabbed my solder paste instead of my flux. Alright, let's put this on the board and then see if we got working touch. If we don't have working touch, I'm done. That is as far as I'm willing to take it. Remember, we've got leaded solder now, so this thing's going to melt much easier. And at the same time, I'm going to be straightening this cap I screwed up down here. Alright, so we just screwed that up royally. And as you can see, we are missing one ball. So, I'm going to set this back over here. I'm going to take my iron, and I'm going to clean off all these pads again. Okay. And this time, I am going to take my Q-tip. I'm going to clean this flux off the board before this phone continues to embarrass me. Quit embarrassing me in my video. I'll stop the cameras and beat the shit out of you. Alright, let's reball this again. We don't need this here no more, do we? Get rid of that. And put a little flux on the situation. Uh-oh, I'm starting to sweat now. That must mean I'm getting nervous. Damn thing. This is supposed to be a routine repair. That's why I picked you to do a video. There's hardly ever anything that's just completely routine though. There's like always something, unless it's a filter or like C5202RF. It can easily run into a drawn out repair when it shouldn't be. All right, let's give this thing the gift of new balls. And we're gonna get our flux out of the holes. I just drag my iron around on it. We're a little dry here. I mean, the solder on my iron, I don't like the way that looks, but we're gonna move on and finish this repair so that I don't look like a fool. And, well, I'll probably still look like a fool, but so that I can send this phone back working. I would like to send this phone back working and fulfill request number 1 and number 2. The sad thing is that I'm gonna charge the same rate, whether or not this is fixed. So I guess it's not really sad. That says something about me. Like, I could stop right now and make the same amount of money, but I would like to see this iPhone 5S work. It's like, I want to see it work. It's not only because the customer wants it fixed. It's because I want to see if I can do it. So let's reball this chip. Okay. Wait for everybody to cool. And they're just super shiny, so it's hard to tell that they're cool. And let's float everything into the center. There we go. And we're going to set this here. Now we are going to grab our PCB. We are going to add some Chick Quick SMD 291 Fluxy Flux to it. And grab our refurbished Broadcom IC. Alright, let's see if we can do a better job this time. Let's look and see where our balls are. And see on this chip, they're not like right at the edges, so it's a little more difficult. Okay. Okay, let's be extra careful. Do I have you in focus? Probably not. Alright, let's focus this for the big event here. And hopefully the big event is what I want it to be and not what this thing wants to do. Come on, surface tension. Be my friend. You're always my friend. Continue being my friend so that I can look like a genius. Ah, yes. 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 Ah, yes. Alright, now let's fix this little dude. There we go. Heat's off. We have put a new Cumulus IC on the board and fixed that little cap that I screwed up. So, anybody want to place any bets if we have working touch or not? Like, I know we had somewhat working touch, but it was so finicky. I mean, it's not working touch. So, since we do have data, I'll tell you what, with all this Paul Daniels talking to and watching I've been having a really hard time not pronouncing the R on the end of data. It just comes out datter. Like every time I say it, I can't help it. It's starting to come out datter, and I can no longer overlook the R on the end of data. I can't overlook it no more. The big old R right there on the end. All right, let's see if we got working touch for our data recovery. If you say it real fast, you don't notice it. But if you slow it down, you can hear that R. Paul Daniels is he's a really good guy. Talked to him a lot, and I think we have quite a bit in common. Yet, I think also due to living in opposite hemispheres, in many ways we are complete opposites too. So, all right, Paul has came a long way with the production quality on videos, and we all have. This is the way this goes. It's amateur video, and we try to do our best. And I'm trying to do my best to restore touch and make up things to talk about while I do that, so that I don't have to skip the entire repair and just skip to the end where it's working and be like, yeah, I fixed it. So let's see what we're up against here. I now have a slide to unlock. I'm putting in the passcode, and it let me put it in without hesitation. And this screen, my test screen, is now working flawlessly. I am going to go ahead and hold the power button down here. We are going to slide the power off. Yeah, whenever it comes to an issue with lines of touch and like finicky, weird touch problems, that's different than an all-out no touch. So now, whenever I was screwing with the M1 jumper and trying to reproduce gray bars on the 6 Plus, I did notice that M1 pin on Mason, it could get all the way up to 10 million ohms of resistance before it started causing any issues. But the issue wasn't always no touch. It was finicky touch. Like, a lot of times it would be finicky touch. Like, it would just go crazy doing weird things, along with having lossy, weak touch. So I never did conclude any research on that. I actually feel like if I had screwed around with capacitance rather than resistance, I would have reproduced gray bars. See, on the crack that's occurring on that M1 pad, I believe there's capacitance in the air. There's an air gap there, and there's some sort of a sweet spot in capacitance that causes this harmonic thing to go out of whack. Like, whatever the hell, whatever perimeters it is, or whatever syncing is going on here, it's going out of whack. And I actually think it's happening due to capacitance rather than due to a resistance, like a broken connection. It's not the actual connection breaking and reconnecting. It's the capacitance caused by the air gap that's in the break. So, yeah, think about that for a minute, and then tell me how wrong I am, because I might very well be wrong. But I went from 0 to 10 mega ohms and took it all the way from touch to no touch. I developed finicky issues, but I never could reproduce gray bars. But I never messed with capacitance or inductance. I mean, I just only did resistance. So what I'm doing here, I'm warming this board up with my hot air nozzle that's turned around backwards for warming boards up. And I'm going to take alcohol and a toothbrush over here, which I never refilled my container because I changed it this morning. So I'm going to take 99% isopropyl alcohol that I buy at Micro Center, my most favorite store in the entire world. And I'm going to refill my bath here with alcohol so that I can continue putting a 45-minute ending on my 20-minute video. I see my frame rate just falling to shit. Wait, don't lean over. That'll make me look like I got this gut going on since I quit smoking cigarettes. It's been a few years now since I quit smoking cigarettes. And man, I gotta tell you, that shit is evil, because I still crave cigarettes every day. Like, every day. I'm craving one right now. Like, nicotine is evil. Like, it's always there. I feel like I'm always gonna live with that for the rest of my life. But one thing that I do have now is that I have the ability to choose food over nicotine. Like, seriously, I think if you took someone that was really, really, really up there on nicotine, you know, had a good level built up, a chemical addiction, and you let them go 12 hours without a cigarette or something, and then give them a choice. Like, so let them go a full day without eating and 12 hours without a cigarette or whatever, and then give them a choice. A cigarette or a cheeseburger, and watch them choose cigarette. I've been there. That's some powerful stuff. When you will choose it over food, that's bad. Like, one's going to keep you alive, one's going to kill you, yet the logic in your brain still says, give me the cigarette. I stay really conscious of my decision to to lay that habit down. And I'll admit, over the period of a few years, there was a couple of times where I picked up a cigar and consumed some nicotine. Like when we found out we were having a baby, I snuck off and had a cigar. And made me feel like shit. But also, within 6 hours, reminded me of just how powerful that addiction was. Within 6 hours, I was wanting another cigar. And I didn't. You know, I didn't. That's a habit I picked up when I was 14, and I consumed nicotine every day, all day, as much as I could possibly get into my body until I was about 30. So I think I've smoked enough cigarettes in my life. All right, let's finish cleaning the board off here. That's as clean as we're getting it. We're going to stop right there. All right. I'm not going to do a video without putting it back together. Let's put this phone back together. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is put the shield back on it. Under a really lossy frame rate. I don't know what's going on today, guys. Hopefully you're getting my audio. Like you really need it. Like some of these videos I think would be better if you just push mute. So what I'm doing, I'm lining up these holes and I'm gradually raising the board temp. And right here close to me, I got a good view of solder on the edges, and I'm waiting to see it molten. And there it is, so I'm going to hold it, let it cool. And then I'm going to move up here and do the same thing. There you go, hold it and let it cool. Being very careful not to push really hard or melt like lead-free solder, because remember, directly on the other side of this board is the CPU, and I am applying pressure, so we don't want to melt anything on the other side and push on it. No re-hot CPU, bro. Don't do it. No matter how bad you think you've tried everything, no matter how much you've tried to get an image on the screen, there is a 99.9% chance that re-hot CPU is going to cause you much bigger problems. I published a video where re-hot CPU actually did bring image back on the screen, but it's also just as likely that re-hot chestnut did it. But I can't believe how many people came forward like, what temperature was your hot air? It's like, no, no, don't re-hot the CPU. For crying out loud, I was joking. Don't do it. All right, so we have re-hotted bottom shield. We're going to let this cool a little bit. There we go. And I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to re-hot top CPU shield without re-hotting CPU. Tell you what, the internet is like the king of making up shit, like making up words. Oh man, that's starting to look like a web camera. Still at 0 dropped frames. Maybe it's because it's a web camera. USB 2. All right. Hey, I've been really fortunate with my USB 2. Everything that I've recorded here is laptop and USB 2. It's actually been working out really well for me, but I would like to start capturing 1080p, and I'm going to have to do some upgrading, folks. Okay. This one I'm going to hold it right in the middle. One last heat around the perimeter, and I'm going to let my heat off and let this cool. Nice shield reinstallation. All right, we're solid. Okay, we're going to flip the board over. Man, this is crappy frame rate. Nah, whatever. All right, let's put our antenna cable back in. And I will feel so much better about this repair, having actually repaired it and not just did the bare minimum. Like, I didn't just get the data and send it back and be like, sorry, give me my $100 or whatever. This is just, I get to fix this one. Come on, frame rate. Okay, I've dropped another 500K a second off of frame rate. We're nice and smooth. I might have something running in the background here that I don't know about. That sticker back on. We're going to put this sticker back on. I believe we are on the original Apple screen. Well, you know, aside from all the marring and all the dinged up crap on that sticker, I could probably reassemble this in a way that Apple would never know. So I'm carefully reconnecting this bottom antenna cable. Sorry, I don't have a clever way of showing you that yet. Oh, almost forgot. Don't leave out this little guy. Let's see, this little guy, it's going to go... You can see on the housing where it'll line up. So I'm going to say I've got it upside down. Let's flip it like this. And now it's going to line up on our... Well, you know what? This is a board repair channel. I don't have my camera set up in a way that I can show you this. Maybe if I give you Microscope. Let's do it under the Microscope. Let's try that. Let's show you how to reassemble a phone that you'll probably never work on because nobody wants to pay to have it fixed. So that would go up here. You'll see where it lines up right on the housing. And then the logic board is actually going to go... I did that all right out of view. Let me undo it just so you can see it. It fell out of there on accident, and now it won't come out because I want to show you. Okay, so this little dude here slides right up under here, and it's going to slip right down into place. Thunk, there it is, it's in place. And the logic board is actually going to go between this top one and the bottom one. It's going to get sandwiched in there. Okay, it's in place. And let's go back to where we can reassemble this phone. So it can take some care here to hold the power volume flex out of the way, slide that between those two contacts, and make sure the camera flex falls in front of the board so you don't wind up pulling the camera out or finagling that. But it's not too bad. You just gotta slip it in there. Once you do enough of them, it happens like second nature. Your multitasking skills where you can hold 15 cables out of the way while sliding a PCB in become outrageously, you become outrageously skilled. All right, let's put all the screws back in. I'm going to start with our top right standoff because it is non-ferrous. Hope I'm saying that right. You know, when you live a life of solitude and you learn everything on your own, like all this crap that I know about Ohm's law and everything that you see me doing, I learned very little of it from other people. So I've been stuck coming up with my own terminology and really my own way of doing a lot of things. And in some ways that's hurt me, but in a lot of ways it's given me a vision of relativity whenever it comes to electricity that I don't think I would have gotten had I learned from textbooks. One day I hope to bring my past out of the bag, and that is how it came about for me learning the stuff that I'm doing right now, because I didn't learn it from books, I didn't learn it at school, I didn't learn it from Louis Rossmann. What I learned from him was enthusiasm. As far as what I do with electricity, this was learned through my very young years all the way up through my late 20s until the point where I had to start making money for a living. And then my scientific life slowly came to a halt as I had to make money and follow goals that were going to be financially beneficial. And that's whenever I laid a lot of that to rest, and I went, full IT work. And that's, well, I guess through all that scientific time, IT work was all I did. That's how I had money coming in. But it still got to the point where it was pointless to stand and screw around and build and mess with something that didn't pay the bills. Now with this YouTube channel, I've got this new fire inside of me ignited, and I'm looking forward to going back to some of that stuff and bringing it onto this channel. And it's going to be cool. I guarantee you, I will be putting things up that will spark more questions than answers. And I may actually start putting some of that stuff on my personal channel, which I don't post to. I don't do anything on that channel. But I'm going to. I'm going to start posting over there too. I'm going to post things there that do not belong on the STS Telecom channel. And don't go look now. There's nothing but some crap of like me climbing ropes when I was a kid or something. I don't know. And then I had a customer that likes to dress up as a leprechaun every year and like sing this song. So he recorded a video and talked me into posting it on my YouTube. Whenever I do start, if I do start posting other stuff over there, like if I start posting on my personal channel, I'll let everybody know, but as it is now, I don't. But there are going to be things that do not fit into the scope of business here on this channel that I'm going to need a place to put them, and that's probably going to be under my personal YouTube channel. That's under my name rather than a company name. All right. Let's find out which one of these won't stick to a magnet. This one? That sticks? Aha. Look here. That one don't stick to a magnet. Okay. So that one belongs in our top right hole. It's also a screw that looks like it could be a very tiny bit too long. So what's happened is this screw got mixed up. It's supposed to be here. This screw is supposed to be here. So here all these people are screwing with this thing, trying to get her a working screen, and every time they're drilling these long screws into the wrong holes, they're jeopardizing the data on this phone. So these screws are all in the wrong place. Maybe since I started my video, like with this magnet pad out of place, maybe I turned something. That could be, but. Sure looks to me like all these screws were in the wrong place. And we were also missing the little clip that holds the home button cable down. We're not going to worry about that because I'm not going to spend. Now, I will do like a lot. I'll go above and beyond to try to make sure the customer's happy. But that is, and this one won't stick to a magnet, so we're grabbing it with tweezers. That is 20 or 30 minutes of digging that I don't plan on spending today for something that is going to make absolutely no difference in the functionality of this phone. So let's go ahead and reconnect our little cable down here. Fall back into place. It's a 5-second job on a normal day because I've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, but since I'm recording a video, it's going to take me forever. There we go. Phone back together. Let's grab, I'm sure it had a SIM card and a tray in it. Okay, so tray. SIM card. AT&T told me you got SIM card. Oh, the walk-in repair business. Oh, oh man, the stuff that I got myself into. You got SIM card for me? AT&T tell me you got SIM card. Now, I'm not making fun of anybody's nationality, but this is a guy that used to come in my shop regularly and always want something for free, like always. And his requests, most of the time, involved some sort of risky business where me saying yes would actually jeopardize his happiness. Like, if I were to have said, yeah, I can do that for you. Yeah, I know it's working perfectly fine now, but yeah, I can do that for you. It might not work when I'm done with it. There's about a 95% chance it's just going to absolutely kill it. But yeah, I can do it for you. I can do it for free. So had I done one of these crazy things for free, now I'm not talking about cutting SIM card. But that's just one thing. Had I done one of these crazy things for free, then I would have also been stuck warrantying it. Like, you did this and now it don't work at all. So, all right, this phone is booted back up. Let me grab passcode. I'm going to slide to unlock. And mind you, I'm on their original screen now. And we now have working touch. Let's check Wi-Fi. Well, that screen has seen better days. That's not going to be the original screen. Yeah. We have working Wi-Fi, so I didn't cook the Wi-Fi IC. All right, so this is going to be the real end of this video. This customer now has data in the best form that I like to provide it, and that is in the form of a working phone. I am going to retain a local copy of this for 30 days, and after 30 days I will be deleting it. So this is going to be a happy customer. This is the real ending to my video, and I do hope you have successful repairs, and I'll see you next time. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for watching.